performance. More at 1-800-300-6000. And Capital One, committed to reimagining banking, offering savings and checking accounts that can be opened from anywhere. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Capital One, N.A.
It does.
Programming is supported by Health Partners, offering helpful customer service and Medicare plans that fit your life. Whether you're a small towner or a high-rise downtowner, find your health partner at healthpartners.com/NPR.
It has been a breezy morning. The winds are going to continue until this afternoon when they're expected to die down a bit. Sunny today with highs across the state in the mid-30s to low 40s. Clear and cold tonight, lows in the 20s, and then tomorrow we warm up with those southwest winds with highs in the 40s northeast, low 60s in the southwest.
This is 102.7 KNTN, Thief River Falls.
Support comes from All True Health System. You can't plan when you get sick or hurt. That's why All True is creating more services that fit your life. From a new hospital to express care options, they strive to serve you better. Focused on you, focused on the future. All True.
This is your local forecast. It's going to be a blustery day today. Sunshine, highs in the mid-30s to around
Beetoff
2018. Around 20 miles per hour. Those winds die down a bit in the afternoon. Clear tonight, overnight lows in the mid-20s to mid-30s. Sunday, another sunny day and a little bit warmer with highs in the low to mid-50s. Southwest winds around 10 miles per hour. Sunday night should be clear, lows in the mid-30s.
Hey there, I'm Joshua Johnson, the host of 1A. Every weekday morning on NPR News, we talk about the most important issues of our time, bringing context and insight to stories across the country and the world. Join me for 1A weekday mornings at 10 on NPR News.
This is the Politics Show from NPR. We're about 2 weeks away from the midterm election.
We have the chance to flip the House of Representatives. We're not going to let it happen. We are going to stop them. Get out and vote in November.
Do whatever you have to do. Just win, baby. There are 435 House and 35 Senate seats on the line. And every weekend leading up to Election Day, we're here with a special broadcast to guide you through all the news that could alter the vote this November. I'm Asma Khalid. This week, the state of the Senate will take a deep dive into some of the most contested races in the country. Plus, the Justice Department charges a Russian woman with interfering in the midterm elections. It's the first such charge we've seen this campaign cycle. And how one of the most polarizing issues in the country, climate change, is motivating voters. Republicans talk about deregulation, Democrats warn of an environmental crisis. All that and more after the news.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Barbara Klein. President Trump calls Saudi Arabia's account of what happened to journalist Jamal Khashoggi credible. For the first time, Riyadh admits Khashoggi is dead, saying he died in a fistfight with Saudi suspects at his consulate in Istanbul. NPR's Deborah Ellis reports the kingdom blames senior advisors for a policy gone wrong.
As soon as I took the harness off, she stopped whining.
Standing order to bring dissidents back to the kingdom by force if necessary, but the account lays the blame on these senior security officials who went beyond the order. They killed this dissident journalist, they covered up the murder. Turkish officials continue to search for Khashoggi's body. Meanwhile, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says he's skeptical of the Saudi explanation. Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff says he doesn't buy it. U.S. intelligence officials are warning that foreign adversaries have already targeted next month's midterm elections. NPR's Carrie Johnson reports a Russian accountant is the first to face federal charges.
Federal prosecutors say Elena Kusainova conspired to defraud the United States. Authorities say she managed a budget of more than $35 million aimed at targeting elections here and in other countries. The methods familiar. Russians bought domain names and Facebook ads to sow division on issues such as race relations and immigration. Their messages targeted people including former President Barack Obama and late Arizona Senator John McCain. They also mentioned Special Counsel Robert Mueller, the man leading the investigation into Russian interference in 2016. Intelligence officials say the Russians are still on the attack, but they say there's no evidence foreign adversaries have been able to prevent Americans from voting or to change vote counts. Carrie Johnson, NPR News, Washington.
The Trump administration's trying to fast-track an environmental review of projects that deliver federally subsidized water to farmers out west. NPR
NPR's Kirk Sigler reports a new presidential memorandum is designed to loosen environmental restrictions in West Coast states.
Republicans going back to the George W. Bush administration have tried to increase water deliveries to farmers in California's massive Central Valley project, where water from snow-fed reservoirs gets pumped south to arid farmland. But those deliveries are perennially cut back due to attempts to protect endangered fish and drought. The president's order would speed up a current review of this, as well as 2 other projects in Oregon and Washington. If environmental restrictions are loosened, there will likely be a prolonged legal battle. But one of the biggest champions of this latest plan is Deputy Interior Secretary David Bernhardt, who used to lobby for the Fresno-based Westlands Water District, one of the largest and most influential water agencies in the West. Kirk Sigler, NPR News.
This is NPR.
Support for news comes from TIAA. TIAA is committed to helping those who are driven by purpose reach their definition of success. Investing, advice, banking, retirement. Learn more at TIAA.org.
From Minnesota Public Radio News, I'm John Wanamaker. Republican Congressman Jason Lewis and his DFL challenger Angie Craig debated healthcare policy, tax cuts, and other issues last evening on Twin Cities PBS. Matt Sepic reports.
Lewis and Craig are vying to represent Minnesota's 2nd Congressional District, which stretches south and east from the Twin Cities Metro. Lewis, a former talk radio host, defended the GOP tax cuts, saying they've bolstered the economy.
Well, I think the tax cut and job tax have been a great success. You have to have growth to do any of this.
Craig, a former healthcare executive, said the measure was a giveaway to corporations and the wealthy.
I support tax reform, tax cuts for the middle class and for small businesses. That's not what this was.
The race is a rematch of 2016 when Craig lost to Lewis by less than 2 percentage points. Matt Sepic, Minnesota Public Radio News.
A man died last night after being struck by a car while crossing U.S. Highway 10 in Becker. The Minnesota State Patrol says Francis Pittman of Big Lake was crossing the 4-lane highway at about 7:30 when he was struck by an eastbound car driven by a 23-year-old boy. Pittman died from his injuries. The patrol says alcohol was not a factor in the crash. The Minneapolis City Council has approved an agreement that will pay for some city services during the NCAA men's basketball Final Four next spring. The Final Four will be played at U.S. Bank Stadium in early April. In all, the tournament will cost around $2.4 million, of which the Minneapolis Organizing Committee will cover about $1.5 million. Though through the agreement, the council signed off on chipping in around $900,000 of the cost of police, public works, and the convention center. Council member Andrew Johnson was one of the 3 who voted against the measure.
I am very excited to see the NCAA coming to Minneapolis. I think it's a great
fuck off.
It is also an organization that cleared over $1 billion in revenue last year and a $105 million profit. And I think that for me, it's just these large subsidies for those with the most money are something that I really wrestle with.
The host committee claims that the tournament brings nearly $150 million in economic impact, though some economists are skeptical of those numbers. In sports, the Minnesota Gopher football team plays the Nebraska Cornhuskers in Lincoln this afternoon. The Gophers are 0-3 in Big Ten play. The Huskers also winless in the conference. This is Minnesota Public Radio News. The time, 10:06.
Welcome to the Politics Show from NPR. I'm Asma Khalid.
We're here to make sure that you're going to vote. And who are you going to vote for? Do you know about the candidates?
We're here with a special broadcast through the midterm elections to keep you up to date on the major
First year I was here, I had to stop here to get my wallet because I forgot it one day.
Could not be higher.